their software. And we had been looking at the Rosetta Stone software, and we really couldn't afford it. Being a small community, small budget, tribal budget or cultural department budget, we really couldn't afford it. And for 10 years, we had been teaching the language in the schools and to the elders and adults. And so we wrote the grant and crossed our fingers, and of 25 communities worldwide, our application was picked, and we were the first ever funded for the Rosetta Stone Endangered Language Program.
We're local and enlightening. You're watching WLAE-TV, celebrating 40.
Inside New Orleans Sports with Eric Asher is underwritten by.
At Villeries Florist, we deliver the magic of flowers 7 days a week to the North Shore and South Shore in the New Orleans area. Whether it's for birthday parties, baby celebrations, Villeries provides colorful floral displays for all. With a store full of fresh-cut flowers, exotic tropical flowers, orchids, roses, and even fruit baskets, our goal is to make your vision a reality. Villeries Florist, proudly serving Louisiana since 1969.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business, 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
C&C Drugs is a family-owned pharmacy that's been serving Southeast Louisiana for over 50 years. Whether you need help taking care of an elderly family member, a growing child, or even a pet, C&C provides patient-centered care for your entire family. C&C Drugs, large enough to serve you, small enough to know you. Locations in Mandeville and Araby.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Inside New Orleans Sports. I'm your host, Eric Asher. Over the next hour, we do as we always do. We cover all the home teams. Saints, LSU, Tulane, Pelicans. You ask for him all the time. He's back. Mike Detillier, WWL Radio, is our guest tonight. Mike, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Eric.
Always good to have you, my friend. And the audience loves you as well. So again, obviously, again, WWL Radio, involved in a bunch of other stuff.
We're going to cut that list real short. I'll cut it at WWL Radio, and that's about it. But hey, every once in a while, I come here, sit with you, enjoy it.
And we love having you as well. Let's get started then. Let's talk a little bit about the Saints first. We'll get into LSU and what's going on there. We'll get into the Pelicans, who have won 2 in a row now. And of course, Tulane with a huge game against Memphis on Friday night. Really kind of, again, for all the marbles for them, they have to win all the way out to even have a chance to get in the American Athletic Conference Championship game, which is going to be huge for them going forward. We'll get into all that today. But first, the Saints are 1-8. They lose to the Rams 34-10. They get Carolina on Sunday in Carolina. The first thing I'd like to ask about your thoughts on Tyler Shuck and what you saw out of Tyler Shuck. You're a guy, obviously, again, that's watched Tyler Shuck a lot in college, again, when you were doing your draft guide. Did he perform the way you thought he would perform?
Yeah, he played okay.
Mm-hmm.
You got no running game.
None.
Okay, so every pass as a quarterback, you're trying to make it worth something, and you're going to find out that's not the case. I thought he played okay, but to be honest, for the majority of this season, up into the final 2 games before I knew eventually, because we talked about it so many times, they were gonna pull Tyler, Spencer Rattler for Tyler. It really wasn't Rattler's play. Now, then when you turn the ball over 8 times in 2 games, eventually you're gonna get unplugged. But again, with Shuck, there is no good time to play a quarterback.
Agreed.
Bobby and I disagree on that. He was like, I should have kept a couple more weeks and play. My thing is there a good time to play a rookie quarterback? The answer is no. Okay, if you got to play him, you're going to have to play him in this game. Now, the Rams are really good, and they could potentially be the NFC representative here. But I'm just telling you, there's no good time to play the rookie. So I thought he played okay mechanically. The way he sets up and throws the ball, it looks really nice coming out of his hand now. But again, the accuracy, his ability to see downfield and to make the mental decisions on where to go. We'll find out a lot more over the next few weeks on how it is. That same discussion was made about Drake May, and I don't want to compare talents, Drake May and Tyler Shuck. But last year, Jacoby Brissett started for the Patriots. Okay, it got down to 6 games. We got to go with Drake. Things ain't working good. They started Drake May up against the Houston Texans. Look at that defense.
Yeah.
Man, they bad to the bone on defense. Now, the offense is shaky all the way across the board, but they bad to the bone. There is no good time to play them. And, okay, you got to get help, too. And what drives me nuts is every week these pre-snap penalties. And, okay, the turnovers, I get it. You got to protect the football. But it's the penalties over the last few weeks that drives you crazy. And it's not all the time the young players. It's the veteran guys making the mistakes.
Sure.
So he didn't get a lot of help, but I thought he played sort of like I thought he would play in the first game and going up against a really good defense.
Do you anticipate him going more downfield than Rattler did? Or is
Yeah,
that ju- or
because
is that
he's
just part of the
built
offense?
differently.
He really is.
And his game is built
Yes.
differently to throw the ball deeper downfield. So, yes, to answer your question, I do think they will stretch the envelope.
Right.
Here's the problem. Can you protect him
Right.
to throw the ball deeper downfield? And, you know, one thing with Rattler, and I give him full credit, man, he dinked and dunked it. But, you know, I think in the back of his mind is, man, I don't have a lot of time to sit back
Yes.
here and look downfield and
Right.
throw the deep ball. One thing, Derek Carr, you and I have talked about this. He did really good here. Man, he could throw the deep pass.
Yes.
Now, the short intermediate stuff, he was all over the board. But the deep stuff he could throw, that, I think, suits Tyler Shuck better than it does Rattler.
In terms of his ability to grasp the offense, where do you think he is right now?
Yeah, I think like every rookie, your head's spinning.
Swimming, right.
Yeah, but you ain't played. Okay, you might have played a couple guys that could play like that. Not all 11. Okay, and this is the NFL. Okay, this ain't no semi-pro league. It's pros. They don't care if you're a rookie.
Right.
Okay, my job is to stop you, and for the most part, the Rams were able to do it. But okay, when you only got 3 plays in the third quarter, Eric, how many games you going to win like that?
can't.
This, we can cut it all different ways. This is a talent issue across the board for this football team. They haven't drafted well. They haven't handled their money real well.
Right.
They tried to sort of extend this where they could be competitive with some veteran players. It didn't work out. So now, that's all great to do if you're hitting on the draft choices.
Right.
Look how many of those draft picks are left.
Right. Well,
We talk about it every year.
But that's the issue, isn't it? I mean, again, you know, we saw them trade Shaheed and Penning this week. There was a lot of talk that, again, they might be trying to move off some of their younger players, especially some of the players they feel like they may not be able to have a chance to re-sign after this season. But then you have to look at the track record of those that are choosing the players, and do you feel comfortable with them choosing players once again, even no matter how many draft picks you have?
Okay, it's Jimmy Johnson talked about this all the time about when he made the trade and dealt Herschel Walker, which was his one big asset back then.
Yes.
And he got all those draft picks. And, you know, he talks about him and having that conversation with Jerry Jones about, hey, it's great to have all the picks. Now we got to hit on those picks. And you're not going to hit on everyone, but you got to hit on at least, you know, 50 to 60% of those guys. And you're not even doing that.
You're not.
So, Eric, we can talk about the rebuild.
Right.
This is the very early stages of a rebuild at this stage.
Staying with that theme for a moment. Last year we saw Ziegler and Mueller as part of the group that was involved in drafting last year's draft class, which on paper right now and so far looks pretty good.
Yeah, I would say
it looks pretty good.
I agree.
Ziegler has moved on. They bring Dimitroff in. How much influence do you think Mueller and Dimitrov will have this year in the upcoming draft?
I thought this draft was more Kellen Moore wanting certain players.
Okay.
And we all know that, okay, Mickey Loomis does have the final say, but who's in his ear for college players? Jeff Ireland. It's Jeff.
Right.
Okay? He's not immune from any of this either.
Right.
Okay, you're the head of college scouting, and whatever vice presidential role that you have on the team. Mickey's not weekly going to a college campus somewhere. Okay, that's Jeff Ireland in the scouting department here. I think bringing in Randy has a certain feel for players. So before he got back into business, we had him on regular on WWL, and he was great. And he could talk about college players. Okay, like week 3, and I would throw him a couple names out, and he was like, Mike, you know a little bit more about them than I do, but let me tell you what I think. And by the end of the year, he had a good beat on it. He knows the college game very, very well.
Yeah.
Now, again, does he have the final say? But he's having some input.
Got some influence.
I would think he would.
Yeah.
Because of the fact him and Mickey Loomis have a track record. Go back to Seattle.
Yes.
And then here in New Orleans before he got fired.
Why do you think Dimitrov was brought in?
I think maybe somebody else for in your ear.
Okay.
Maybe I see something.
Okay.
Maybe we should do this. This is what I see. And it was so funny. We had Thomas was head of a firm that they were doing metrics and analytics work. And so we doing Super Bowl coverage, and I see him. And I said, hey, you want to do the show? Yeah, I'll do the show. And so he came on, talked about what he was doing now, talking about players. And Lionel Vital was a guy I've known, a Louisiana guy. He went to Nichols and a long time scouting, and he sort of followed Dimitrov. He was in New England. Dimitrov was there. When he goes to Atlanta, he was there. And so we were talking about Lionel. We were talking about different things. And he said, the closest guy in this business that I'm to is Mickey Loomis. And I'm like, whoa. And he was like, so he finished the statement, even though we were rivals on the field, off the field, we got along great. And so when we finished the interview and, he takes off the mic and he puts it down, he said, guess I'm going having supper with it tonight. I said, who you got supper with tonight? He said, Mickey. And Steve looked at me, he was like, whoa. Okay,
yeah,
you could tell. And so that really didn't come as a surprise, but also it's another voice in the room.
Yes.
From a talent standpoint, not only with Dimitrov knowing the college game, but the pro game also.
Staying with the draft for a moment, I want to get back to the Saints, but 2026 coming up, obviously you have a situation where you're want to see what Shuck can do. In your opinion, what does the top of the draft look like next year? Is it quarterbacks as always, or are there defensive players that can slip in there? What do you think? It's early, but what do you think?
I laugh about it because this is the one thing Bobby's been right about, and we've done this now over 20 years, him and I. And he was like, Mike, quarterbacks trump every position.
Yes.
I don't care how good you are.
It's true.
Trumps every position. The crazy thing is the quarterbacks that have really excelled this year are not the guys we were talking about in July and August.
No doubt about that.
Okay, we had no idea about Tyler Simpson.
How good is he in your opinion?
Man, he's damn good. He's smart. He's accurate. And I thought I gave him a compliment. He comes to Manning. And so I'm hobbling around with a bad knee. I had it fixed, but I was hobbling around. So Charlie Long was engineer. He was like, Mike, where you want to go next? And I was like, right there. And he's like, who is that? I said, that's Ty Simpson. He was sitting by himself. So I said, let's go interview him. Let's go. And so did the interview, and he told me about, I understand the pressures. I understand it at Alabama. It ain't about winning no 8 or 9 games. You got to get to the SEC championship and into the top 12. And so I said, I'm going to tell you something. Just watching you this morning throw the ball, you remind me of Garrett Nussmeier. And he gave me a big smile. He said, you're not the first guy to tell me that. And I think about it. He's having the year that we thought Nussmeier would have.
Right.
He really is.
Yes, he is. There's no doubt.
Now he's got two great receivers now. Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard, man, they are really good now. And so that'll be an interesting matchup this week, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I think he's having a terrific year, as good as any quarterback in college football. 20 touchdowns, 1 interception, 2,200 yards passing, over 200 passes, and 1 pick.
Right.
Mendoza, I think, is having a great year. Super smart guy, can process information well. He's not a great movement guy. I mean, you know where he's going to be.
Right.
But, man, can he throw it, and it's fast coming out of his hands. So, for me, they would be on top of the board. Dante Moore is an interesting player with very little experience as a starter. 5-star recruit. Almost came to LSU. Brian Kelly really heavily recruited him here, but decided to go to UCLA instead. That didn't work out. He goes to Oregon. He sits for a year behind Gabriel Dillon, and then look what's happened.
Right.
He's very, very good. I'd love to see him have another year, though, at Oregon. And I do know one thing. He got representation, which means he's getting paid.
He's ready.
So it is not the year we thought it would be at quarterback.
Are there guys that you can't pass up? Saints sitting with the first overall draft pick. Teams are calling. They're trying to move up. Saints are looking at what they have in Shuck. Is there a quarterback there that you just say, look, we've got to pick this quarterback?
No. I would deal that pick off if that was the case. And I got a good offer.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to fall down too far.
No, understood.
But if I could go to 4 or 3 or 5.
Pick up multiple picks.
And give me the extra picks.
Yes.
If today somebody told me, Mike, put up a board, who's the best player out there?
Who is it?
Arvell Reese, the linebacker from Ohio State. Watch Ohio State. Watch number 8.
Good enough to be the first overall pick?
Good enough to be the first overall pick. I'm going to tell you. It looks like they got twins on the field. Look like they got 2 8s. Okay, they run the ball to the left, he's on the right, he gets there. They run the ball to the right, he chases you down. Then he sacks the quarterback. Then in coverage, he drops back in, and it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Look at this guy. He is a front 7 player similar to Kyle Hamilton coming out of Notre Dame as a back end player. That you can play him up front, you can play him at safety. Okay, I can put him in the nickel coverage wise. He knows how to do. Man, Arvell Reese, and to think about, Ohio State had so much talent. He was a part-time player last year.
Right.
A part-time player.
Well, with that said, obviously DeMario Davis probably in his last year as a New Orleans Saint. You got Werner, you got Stutzman. Is he too hard for the Saints to pass up? Or are they looking at the future and saying, we need more than one player, we need multiple players?
Yeah, for me, man, and I'm a big Arvell Reese guy.
Right.
And I've talked about him literally since the second week. To watch him the first couple of weeks, I'm like, damn, who's better than him? Who was playing but I do know Ryan Day's system is that there's a bit of seniority. Okay, you're a senior. I'm going to play you ahead of the sophomore. And that's what happened with Reese. But he did get a lot of playing time. He'd be hard for me to pass up, but I need more than one guy.
Right.
I need more than that. Do I trust that my scouting department can get me multiple players is the big question mark.
That leads me to, again, one of the trades this week. Again, the trade of Shaheed to Seattle for a 4th and 5th round pick in this draft, and then of course the late trade of Trevor Penning to the Los Angeles Chargers for a 2027 6th round pick.
I didn't think they'd get anything for Trevor.
I'm surprised, but they were desperate in Los Angeles.
Yes, they
desperately needed that.
Because, Eric, I watched him. We've done this show now the last couple of years, and we've talked about it. I don't care if he plays left tackle, right tackle, guard.
Right.
He's so technically unsound, it wasn't going to work no matter what.
Right.
A lot of people, you can't play tackle, move him to guard. It's just not that simple. Okay, if you're not technically sound, the same issues you had at tackle, you're going to have at guard. And if you watched him, I think he always had a sort of a high cut build, and so he would play high, and then they'd push him off balance. And, almost like his ground base was not good from a set standpoint as a pass protector. Boy, he got beat. Man. And a lot of times, what the lineman would do, they'd get under his pads and kind of push him back, and he was almost getting pushed back right into the lap of the quarterback. I was surprised they got, but I understand with the Chargers, and I think this all goes down to one thing. Joe Hartise, who's the general manager of the Chargers, at that time when Trevor was coming out, he was the director of college personnel for the Ravens.
Okay.
I think he had a high grade on Trevor.
Right.
And was like, you know what, it's all a 6th-round pick, and we don't have to give it up this year. We got to give that up in 2027.
Right.
Let's do the deal. And they ravaged with injuries. The Shaheed trade makes a lot of sense for Seattle.
Absolutely.
Because now I got one guy in Jackson Smith, the Jigba, who's spinning guys around like a top. If you take Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson off the board, is there another receiver in the NFL that's playing as good as him?
I agree with you.
No.
I agree with you.
And now you bring in Shaheed. You can't kind of rotate coverage all the time, okay, to the Jigba. Now you're going to have to cover the deep deal because you can throw it with Shaheed. And they got a young tight end in Elijah Arroyo from Miami. Man, when he's going to figure it out, and he's a reps guy, and has admitted, I'm not going to pick things up right away, but if I get enough reps, man, he's a 6'5" guy, 245, and he runs like a cheetah out in the open field. Seattle is legit as far as what you see out on that field. They'll go as far as Sam Darnold takes them.
And of course, again, the relationship with Kubiak and Shaheed.
That had a lot to do with it.
A lot to do with it
because
as well.
You saw when Derek Carr was in there with Shaheed, how they used him.
Yeah.
They were trying to hit the splash play with Shaheed.
Again, I think he's the better receiver of Olave and Shaheed, in my opinion. And it takes me back to that draft. That was Mickey Loomis' first draft without Sean Payton in 2022, and the splash that they made with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Redskins. And when you look back on that draft, obviously, again, the Saints lost. Olave and Trevor Penning, were picked up. The Philadelphia with the picks that the Saints gave up, Jalen Carter, Nakobe Dean, Cooper DeJean, and then of course some of those picks were used to bring A.J. Brown in. The Commanders get John Dotson, which again was a bust, but they got Brian Robinson Jr. and Percy Miller, and of course they have the 194th pick that Philly had, and they used that to get Noah Ellis. So when you look at again the way this thing kind of came to fruition at the end. Obviously, again, it looked like the other two teams did much better with the trade than the Saints did with Olave and Trevor Penning.
You could have stopped right after Jalen Carter.
Yeah, exactly.
You could have stopped it on one
You set up Philadelphia's
name.
Run for a Super Bowl with that move.
Okay, and his maturity too as a guy. I know a couple of guys that coached him, and they were like, okay, he's live wire, no insulation. Somebody got to handle him right. Vic Fangio knew how to handle him.
Yes.
Knew how to handle him really well. Got on him about, man, you too damn heavy. And he was like, what? Come on. And he lost about 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Now, he doesn't do it every play, but when he wants to take over a game, takes over. And I think about that game last year against the Rams. And the Rams, man, they rolling downfield. And back-to-back plays by Jalen Carter to affect Matt Stafford and how it changed the game. And then, I talked about Orville Reese. It looked like twins. Look in the Super Bowl. I mean, Carter, it looked like they had no idea how to block him. No. And he had Mahomes sort of spinning and spinning back because you see him out of the corner of your eye. Just missed opportunities there. Really, really huge missed opportunities.
Who takes Shaheed's place in the offense, in your opinion? A lot of people think Vailey is going to get
I
more.
think it's him right there.
And is it because they're going to use him more over the middle now?
I would think you would have to because you got to play to his strength.
Yes.
Okay, he's a tall, angular receiver that has learned how to run those inside routes really well. Can he stay healthy? Because he's a little thinner based than a lot of the bigger receivers we see today. But man, they can't hit you today. They can't hit you high. They can't hit you low. They can hit you in the middle, but that's about it. The way they play the game today, I think Vailey is the big winner here. with an opportunity now to become a bigger part of their offense.
And has to, considering they gave up a top 100 pick for him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to happen.
You got to make it work out with him at this stage.
You talked about the offense, and you talked about the lack of a running game. And again, to me, they're not using Kamara the way they should be using Kamara in the later stages of his career. What are they going to do with this running game? Who's going to be, is it Neal? Who's going to be the bell cow for this team when they run the football, if they can ever get to running the football again?
Boy, it's going to be Kamara. I mean, Devin, and I think he's a nice back, but really isn't he more of a two-back
I would agree.
than a one-back?
Right.
I think had he been able to stay healthy, Kendra Miller would have been the guy.
100% agree.
Now, hearing me say that now, you wouldn't have heard me say that in July because I think the one thing you saw with Miller was maturity. He understands what it is now to be a pro. He got himself in the best shape we've seen him in. And he wasn't the same guy that showed up on WWL the night he got picked and was, man, I'm not coming here to be no backup to Alvin Kamara. I'm going to be the man. And, you know, Deuce was, whoa, young buck.
Right.
You know who you think you're going to put on the bench?
Right.
That's not happening. But I think that was some maturity that we hadn't seen before. A lot of people blame Dennis Allen. But if you in Dennis Allen's spot and you see he's got talent.
Right.
I thought Dennis Allen knew he had talent because you know what? If I got a guy and I'm upset with him, you know what? I just cut him loose. Allen kept him here. He kept him here. Understanding, I know he's got talent. Can I bring it out of him? But it was more on Kendra. I think his maturity and how he grasped the NFL better. And listen, we all mature a different time in our lives. All of us do.
Sure.
And for Miller, I thought he'd have been the guy. They do not have an inside running guy.
That's my point.
The only guy they got, Taysom Hill.
Right. And you think they'll utilize him more in the QB power, put him in the
I think
in the
it would be that
eye?
would be the case. That would be the case because you really don't have a power
No, you
back.
don't. And to try to continue to use Kamara as a power back,
That's
in my
a
opinion,
huge mistake.
It is. You got to get him in space. They're wasting the last part of his career. Radens moves into pending spot now as the starting guard, or do they move Simpkins there?
Yeah, you know, and I've never been the biggest Ravens fan out there. I saw him at Tennessee. He struggled. They moved him up. It was almost his story is very similar to Penning.
Right.
A left tackle, right tackle, left guard, right guard. And they got to the point where the Titans were, enough's enough. Go do it somewhere else. And he ends up here, but he's going to be the guy to take over Trevor's spot. And it never worked out for him in Tennessee.
Right.
Never. No matter what. And they went through a myriad of offensive line coaches too, the same thing as Trevor Penning.
Yes. Defensively, the inability to stop the run.
That is surprising to me because I thought that was one area they would be better in this year. Has not worked out at all.
Personnel? Scheme?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both, personnel and scheme. Because I thought, you bring in Godshaw, that he would help you inside.
But a lot of people thought that, again, he was on the last leg of his career when they let him go into New England.
And I understand what Rabel was doing there, too. Man, this ain't a one-year rebuild. I don't think he realized he caught a genie in a bottle with Drake May.
Yes, he did.
And man,
Saints hope the same thing, but they got it there with Chuck.
Yeah, and you think about Keyshawn Butte.
Oh, man.
And the maturity with him.
Yes.
And we talked about with Kendra, the same thing with Keyshawn. Keyshawn had all kind of talent. Those first couple years at LSU, he was unbelievable. And then at the end, you almost look like this guy, he was more likely to get himself in trouble than he was to make plays on the field. But I think he all of a sudden understood.
Well, he says it now. He says that, again, he realizes that then he had to mature as a man and as a player. And it looks like he's done that.
Yeah, and one thing with Mike, with Coach Rabel, his deal is, hey, I'm going to help you, but you got to help yourself.
Right.
And that was something.
He's one of the biggest surprises in the NFL this year.
No question about it. Now, he got the hamstring injury. See how long that'll take for him to come back. But he has been a huge, huge surprise on what he's been able to do. But doesn't he look like the guy we saw early on at LSU?
No doubt
Looks
about
like
it.
the same guy. And so, man, I'm thrilled for him. I know him a little bit. I couldn't be more proud of, hey, listen, we all mature differently, and he was able to make it go. But for the Saints not being able to stop the run, if I'm playing you, guess what? I'm running the ball.
Every time.
This week you play the Carolina Panthers. Guess what the Panthers are going to do?
They run the football.
With Rico Dowdle. They're going to run the football.
That's right.
Chuba Hubbard, they're going to run the ball. They built their offensive line similar to what Sean Payton did. And Dan Morgan made a comment, not quite to that point, but he said, in seeing the success of teams in the NFC South, I saw where they built from the inside out.
Right.
They go out and spend a ton of money on their guards, and they had already had one of the tackles. He was an early round top 10 pick. And, man, they run the football. Now, their passing game, I think certainly Tez McMillan gives them a guy that is tough to overthrow.
Yeah.
And I think Bryce has gone through ups and downs.
But he's better.
But he's much better.
Much better.
Much better.
He was swimming for a couple of years, but he's much better. There's no doubt.
Defensively, there are holes there for the Saints to take advantage of. Can they?
Right.
Is going to be the big question mark.
That leads me to my last question about the Saints. Critique Moore and his play calling over the first 9 games of the season.
It's been a little bit baffling, and sometimes not a little bit. Play calling's an art.
Yeah.
It is an art. And you don't have the personnel of the Eagles. You don't have it.
Right.
To be able to kind of catapult yourself into running the ball, and then everybody's coming up to the line, then you can throw the ball deep. Now, everybody's just the opposite. If I'm going to put somebody extra on the line, guess what I'm doing? I'm rushing a quarterback because I don't fear your running game at all.
Right.
I couldn't give him a passing grade, put it to you that way.
Yeah.
I think so far, you'd probably have to give him a D.
I would agree with that. And to me, that's the most surprising thing about this, because I thought the one thing that he would be able to do is call a creative offense. And we have not seen it. We just have not seen it. A lot of that has to do, again, with the offensive line not protecting, not opening up holes for the running game, but also inability to really run the football consistently. But even the fact that, again, you're not getting the ball to the second level, that's the frustrating thing to watch every Sunday.
Almost like you playing the game in a goldfish bowl. Yeah. It's right there.
Right. And teams know how to play you.
Okay, and so now if you don't extend that, then my safeties can cheat. They come up, they can roll coverage differently and that sort of thing. But it hasn't looked very good, and I agree with you. Other than, I really thought they played a run better, to be honest with you. I thought they played a run better this year. That hasn't happened, but the play calling too has been really questionable.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We will take a break here. We come back. We had a lot to talk about. The situation with LSU. Tulane, again, with maybe the biggest game of the season against Memphis on Friday night. And the Pelicans back-to-back wins with Willie Green on the hot seat. It's still hot, maybe a little bit warm. But again, really two really good games by the Pelicans back-to-back. We'll get into all that. Mike Detillier, WWL Radio, is our guest. I'm Eric Asher. You're watching Inside New Orleans Sports. Stay tuned.
Located at 3701 Iberville Street in Mid-City is Katie's Restaurant and Bar. Open 7 days a week, Katie's offers daily specials for lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Serving New Orleans cuisine such as fried shrimp platters, grilled redfish, and a fully stocked bar. And don't forget about our expanded event seating and local entertainment. Featured on the Best of Food Network's diners, drive-ins, and dives, Katie's Restaurant and Bar.
Burkhart's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration has been family-owned and operated since 1989. Burkhart has energy-efficient solutions and offers brands such as Mitsubishi ductless AC units and Amana, the only manufacturer with a lifetime unit replacement warranty. Burkhart's offers maintenance bundle packages that include servicing your AC, generator, and tankless water heater. For more information on the services Burkhart's provides, visit acpromise.com. Burkhart's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration, providing comfort for life.
Welcome back to Inside New Orleans Sports. Mike Detillier is our guest. We will take Tulane first in this B block. 6-2, 3-1 in the American. They got Memphis on Friday night. That's an 8 o'clock game on ESPN. Lost to Texas San Antonio 48-26. Again, very surprising the way they got beat. But 2 weeks in a row, last-minute victories, almost like it kind of caught up with them. Your thoughts on the season so far, and how big is this game for the program?
I thought they were an 8-win team. I told you that back in August.
Yes.
I thought they were an 8-win team. Okay, when you lose, a lot of Tulane fans didn't want to admit it. Darian Mensah, what? That dude is a star player.
Right.
Okay, he's just next man up. You know how I feel about that. That's the biggest bunch of baloney in the world.
Right.
That don't work. You bring in Ratzloff, and he's had his moments where he's looked good, other times shaky. And then I think the biggest loss for me was Mekhi Hughes, because he was a perfect fit in what John Summerall wanted to do in running the ball. He was not a good fit at Oregon,
right?
And that's why he's not there anymore. And then what you lose out of your top 5 receivers.
Right. You lost Bauman too.
You lost 4, and then you lose your tight end,
Right.
and then you lost, 80% of your secondary?
Yep.
Eric, my thing was, man, if he can get to 8 wins, he's done a heck of a job. He's 6-2 now. My thing is, that's really something. I'm surprised how they lost to UT San
I am
Antonio.
too.
That was embarrassing.
Just not the way the Summerall teams, the coach teams play, honestly.
I agree with you. And they made McCown look like he was Steve Young.
Man, honestly, when I've seen him play a couple times. I've never seen him play like that before.
Not that good. And you didn't affect him, and he was rhythmatic with everything. It was, man, take the snap, the ball's out of there. It was quick.
I've never seen so much space for receivers from a Tulane secondary like we saw that night.
Yeah, and so I give Coach Traylor a lot of credit at UT San Antonio.
Yes.
Man, that game plan, you keep that, babe. Some of the others, because when you're a coach, there's a lot of, I'm going to clean it up, a lot of them that hit the garbage.
Right.
Okay? They're not good. That one, man, they had almost every move was right by UT San Antonio. And the most peculiar thing, Tulane goes down there and scored, and then they go for 2 points. And so I have Coach Summerall on every week, and I question him about what made you go for the 2 points a day. He said, well, we saw some stuff on film. We felt it was the right thing to do because we knew it was going to be a track meet type of game. But
chasing points.
Man, I don't like to chase points.
Me neither.
I'll be honest with you. If it's later in the game is one thing, but not right off the bat.
I agree.
And I think, did they really ever play quite again like that?
No, they didn't.
Almost like got unplugged. Then you miss a chip shot field goal.
His first of the year.
And then all the turnovers. And so all that into one pie, you ain't going to win.
No.
And UT San Antonio, and I'll give them credit, at home, it's a gambler's deal, so to speak.
They're 24-0 now in conference.
That's impressive.
From USA to American. That is
so now you face a team that has better talent.
Much better talent.
Than what UT San Antonio has. Memphis is a very, very well-coached team. They score a lot of points. Now, they give up a lot, too. Secondary-wise, man, this should be a good game for Ratzloff and the receivers. The one thing when you watch Memphis, man, they give up a lot of cushion to receivers. You can throw the ball out in the flat, but it's almost a tsunami game against them, okay? They're going to score, you better score right back. Either that or they're going to hit you with the offensive tsunami. They try to outscore you every week.
Your thoughts on, do you think Tulane wins on Friday night?
No, I think Memphis does.
Okay, well then what are their chances of getting into the American Championship if they don't win this week?
Don't get in, then I think it's going to be really, really difficult.
Okay, so then there's no American Championship, there's no backing into the college football playoffs. That leads me to my next question. You interview him every week. You have a great rapport with Coach Summerall. Everybody loves Coach Summerall. Your thoughts on him staying at Tulane with all the openings we're seeing at Power 4 schools, especially in the SEC?
I think it's going to be really difficult because now, where are the coaches for all these openings?
Agreed.
Where are the coaches going to come from in this?
think Sarkisian said the same thing the other day, right?
Yeah, exactly. Why?
Yeah.
You're seeing it. And listen, we're just seeing the very tip of the mountain.
More to come.
There's a lot more to come right behind, and some big time openings. So it's going to be tough.
Right. Yeah. And I don't think it matters how Tulane finishes here. Some people believe, again, with Tulane kind of craters, that's going to take the bloom off the rose.
No.
I don't think so. He's an outstanding coach. He was always destined to go to a Power 4 school. The question was, again, not if, but when. And right now, the way things are opening up, I mean, he may have his pick at this point. When you look at possibly Auburn opening up.
I think it will be multiple teams.
Right.
Okay. May not be exactly where he wants, but I think I agree with you, multiple teams. I look at this Tulane team, and I would categorize them as good to, at times, very good. They got one star. He's on the sidelines, John Summerall.
Right.
Now, I'm just telling you, he's the star at Tulane. They got good players, and they got a few very, very good players. They got one superstar, John Summerall.
And look, I know you feel the same way. Tulane's program is on good footing now. There's a foundation there.
It is much stronger than it was even 2 years ago.
So they will find the next great young coach that will look at Tulane and say, I can win there. That can catapult me to a Power 4 school.
This was years ago. I got asked to serve on, I've done it now quite a few times since, on advisory boards for head coaches. I didn't know who to talk to about this. I'd never done it before. But my neighbor was Joe Clark. And, you know, Joe, longtime coach in the NFL, but he was friends with Sam Jankovic, who was the athletic director at Miami of Florida. And he was like, I was like, yeah, but I mean, he don't know me from Adam. He was like, no, worry about it, Mike, I'll call him. And so he's like, call him this afternoon after 1 o'clock. I thought this might be a 5-minute phone call. I ended up like 2.5 hours with Jankovic, and he was like, here's my deal. When I got there, Miami of Florida had Howard Schnellenberger win a national championship. And Coach Schnellenberger kind of cashed it in. He thought he was going to be a head coach in the USFL, and the franchise never kind of came about. Ended up going to Louisville. He said, against all odds, because most of the committee wanted to hire an assistant coach off the staff. He said, no. Jimmy Johnson from Oklahoma State. And they were, Jimmy Johnson? I'm like, who's Jimmy Johnson? So he says, man, they found out about Jimmy real quick of what he did to the program. So he says, okay, we knew eventually that Jimmy was going to leave. Now he said, we could have never predicted that Jerry was going to buy the team and Jimmy Johnson was going to follow him. And he said, again, I felt a lot of pressure. Let's hire a Southern coach, a guy that knows the area. Nah. He had connections with Dennis Erickson, and he brings in Erickson, 2 national championships for Dennis Erickson at Miami of Florida. He said, would you rather hire a coach no one wants, or would you rather hire a coach everyone wants? He said, okay, give me the answer. He said, okay, we're not talking to the fans that, oh, this is utopia here. It's the greatest job in the world. He said, we are talking about business. Who is the best? He said, I did my job. You know why? I hired the best coaches out there. You know why? Every year I had to fight some of them dudes off to keep the coach I had. And I think Tulane has to get into that mode that, okay, if we hire a really good young coach, in a couple years, he might decide to leave. But you know what? Just leave the program better off than how you took it. And with that foundation and everything else, Willie Fritz did it. Okay, you got to give it to what Willie Fritz did is unbelievable. Who took more criticism? Oh, Willie Fritz, he bailed out on Tulane. No, he took a better job at Houston. And the facilities were not like it is today. And now look, now the facilities are catching up. To it.
And they got the NLL money, they got the collective.
I agree.
They got everything in place that they can be successful.
And so if you're going to lose them, you know what? Say, hey, God bless you, brother.
Say thank you.
I appreciate everything you did for this program, but we move on. But I always think about that with Sam and that comment about would you rather have a coach no one wants, or you rather have a coach everybody wants?
This leads me to, again, LSU and the situation there at LSU. Brian Kelly being fired. Again, subsequently, again, Governor Landry meddling in the situation. Scott Woodward subsequently fired. Verge Osbury has been now hired as the permanent athletic director. Frank Wilson, the interim head coach. Joe Sloan out as offensive coordinator. Alex Atkins in. Oh man!
And the new president.
And the new president. And the new vice president and chancellor. All right, a lot to unpack. Your thoughts on the firing of Brian Kelly?
Watching the fourth quarter of that game, and I couldn't have told you that before, but watching the fourth quarter of that game, I turned to my left, my wife's sitting there, she's not paying any attention to this, which is the norm. I told her, Brian Kelly's gone. You can't survive this. And the norm would be, okay, why don't you change assistant coach? Okay, he wasn't gonna do all that. And this is on him.
Right, he fought for Sloan, from what we understand.
And then we had heard inklings of different things about him coaching from the ivory towers.
Exactly, yeah.
And now you hear it
everybody
even
hears it,
more.
right,
And
exactly.
we all hear it now. Spending a lot of time on the golf course, not being around. I had a couple of players tell me, I'm not sure he knows my name.
How's that possible? In today's world, in today's unlimited transfer NIL world, how does that happen?
And, you know, okay, you got a 90-man roster, and sometimes, you know, that's a lot of comings and goings in this world. But you got to know the names of your players.
You don't think Summerall knows the name of his players?
He knows every one of them.
Right.
So this is the funny line with Summerall. And so he tells me, during the spring, we had so many different people. You know what I made him do? I made them wear a pullover shirt with their names on the back, just in case maybe my memory wasn't exactly good. Because he said we had so many comings and goings. I had to do it.
But he's trying.
But he's trying.
The other guy's not.
Kelly, no. So I think you just sort of knew. And you know the funniest thing, Herb Tyler and I do Tiger Tailgate Show every Saturday leading up into LSU football. It's the biggest crowd we've ever seen at Acme Oyster House. I'll pull in, and they got people serpentined outside to get in. And I mean pretty far. And it's raining. And I'm like, whoa, look at this. And so one of the people at the restaurant, Mike, come on in, we'll get you through in there. We got crowds all over. And so they put me in. It was the most subdued LSU crowd I've ever seen. Almost like, okay, I live out in the country.
Yep.
Those animals will know when something's happening weather-wise long before you and I or anybody else do. They sort of sensed this could get ugly. And as Herb and I left, you know, talking to people at the tables, they were, I don't feel real good about this game.
No, I didn't.
And it was like, man, game ain't even started yet, and listen to this. When Herb and I walked out and he looked at me, he was like, have we ever heard that? Never heard that before. So Eric, at that moment, it was like sort of embedded in my head. Then you play a first half where you leading at halftime, you know, because I had people tell me, well, they weren't even in the game. What? They leading at halftime. What game you watching? You watch the end of the game or you watch the highlights. But the punt return, that was it. And then the other part too, and it's visual, and we've seen it with other coaches, but you can't do this every week to players and coaches.
It looks like chaos on the sidelines.
You can't be cursing these guys out on a consistent basis without showing them some love along the way too. And he was regularly doing it and almost giving off the signal, hey, this ain't my fault. I'm doing my job. It's you that's messing up.
He almost said that in his press conference as well.
Eric, it came about that close, okay? That close for him to do it. And so you could see the end was near with him. A lot of people say, oh, he was a terrible hire. No, he wasn't. Look at the success.
When they hired him.
Look at the success he had.
College football, college athletics changed under his watch.
He never changed.
Right, he was a foundation builder. He was perfect for LSU when he came there. But when college athletics changed with NIL and transfer portal, and he wasn't able to get on board early, again, it passed him by.
Yeah, and so at the press conference, and he's talking about this, we're going to build through high school recruiting and look all the talent we have in the state of Louisiana, and all that's true. But he says, we're going to occasionally use the transfer portal to bring in a player or two or three. And Charlie Long, he's next to me, and he was like, I turned to him, I said, Ian lost his mind. There's no way you can work that way.
When everybody else is doing it the way it's set up, and you're going to go in the opposite direction, you're not going to win.
And so you changed all of a sudden, but you were almost like pushed.
Right.
Hey, you got to do it, coach. You got to be able to do it.
But it was too little, too late.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it was never able to get both sides of the football playing well at the same time. Put a lot of money into the defense. Now this defense is pretty well. When you had a prolific offense, your defense was horrible. So again, that falls on his feet.
And the other thing too, when you watch Notre Dame, what did you think of Brian Kelly? He's an offensive-minded coach. Running game,
right.
Physicality.
Offensive line, tight ends.
Okay, here's my thing. They were putting out offensive linemen like they were on a conveyor belt. Every year they had 5 guys, 4 of them went to the NFL. They played a lot of what I call 13 personnel, 3 tight ends. When they played Alabama in one of the bowl games, it was one of the biggest things Pete Jenkins tells me all the time, man, I saw that 3 tight ends. What? And so Pete was, man, Coach Saban screaming about, wait a minute, we never saw that. They came out the first drive, 3 tight ends. They had a bunch of tight ends that went on to play in the NFL too. And you think about his offensive line, man, they don't move no one.
Never materialized at LSU.
That part to me is so baffling, if that your reputation, no matter where you went, was about physicality, running the ball, multiple backs carrying the football. That never happened here.
Verge Osbury, your thoughts on him being athletic director?
And Verge, been there a long time. He's been through a lot of different guys there. LSU guy, I think he's the guy at this moment is right for LSU.
Why not open up and do a nationwide search? I get it. He may be the guy you want, but why not look outside the boot?
Whatever you look at it like that, now you're going to have, you looking for an AD and a head coach?
Yeah, right.
Man, that's going to be difficult, Eric.
Okay.
You had to make that choice. And even some of the comments that are made, since then about he's the interim and not the interim and he's the acting. Well, I think most people from LSU is going to find out with Wade Roos, he talks in the present. Okay,
that's the new president.
Yeah, and he sort of muddied the waters up yesterday with comments early in the morning. Then he came on the show with Bobby and I, and he made it clear, acting AD, but he would be in full charge, full autonomy to hire the next head coach. That told me he's going to be the permanent AD. Now, a lot of people kind of looking into wordplay, and President Roos sort of helped them along with that too.
Yes.
That's the other part of it. It's been a lot of missteps along the way, and everybody seems to get caught in the vortex of the tornado one day or the next. Whoever got to the governor has told him, hey, lay off of this.
Well, he needs to back off.
Lay off of this. Let somebody else, if they get in trouble for saying something, let them do it.
Right.
And so what has happened over the last week? Have you heard anything from the governor?
No. He stayed again. Well, he got his president, he got his vice president, he's got his AD, and he's going to get his coach. So does it matter if he speaks up?
No, at this stage, no. But I think sometimes, I've said this so many times, in this state, football, baseball, basketball, women's gymnastics is sport. So is politics.
Right. Oh, there's no doubt.
The biggest sport. It's bigger than football. The political.
How do you think I could transition from sports to politics so easy on the radio? Come on.
And so, man, and we get it all the time about, press them on this, press them on that. Okay, they're going to give you that answer, and they're not going to move off of it, because anything you say, they know they potentially could get even more into the muddied waters.
Frank Wilson, first game, interim head coach against Alabama. Your thoughts?
Man, I've known Frank. He was a running back at Nicholls State, and then becomes this super successful high school coach. And so Coach O gets the job at Ole Miss. And he tell me, hey, T-boy, I'm going to hire Frank Wilson. I'm like, okay, I thought he had sort of retired from that coaching gig. I don't know. He's coming here, sure enough. 2 days later, Coach Wilson's there. They followed. When Lane Kiffin got the job at Tennessee, they all sort of followed Lane there and then came back to Louisiana. Louisiana guy, I think he understands the players really matter and understanding take care of his players. And there is a certain relationship every coach has with players. But this isn't all of a sudden going to solve the ills of you not being able to run the football.
Agreed.
It's not going to solve the ills of you not being able to stop a mobile quarterback that can run.
I agree.
That's
with
not going to change overnight.
But maybe the offense may look a little different. Maybe again, and the players, I think, will play for him.
They're going to play hard for.
They're going to play hard. I think that could be the difference looking at the end of the season. How many wins that's going to add up to, I don't know.
Now here's the thing with Frank. I would do everything in my powers to keep him on the next staff.
I agree with that.
Okay, last Thursday we had Coach Ogeron on, and his deal. He's going to come back and coach one day. Where? Who knows?
Right.
If his head coach, assistant
Agreed.
coach, he's going to come back. Asked him about Frank, and he was like, "Man, there's nobody that loves LSU more than Frank Wilson." But he said, he might be the best recruiter I've ever seen. Man, okay, Coach O is saying this. No,
who was a great recruiter.
Who's a great recruiter too.
Right.
And he's talking about Frank, maybe the best he's ever seen at recruiting players. No, you have to keep that relationship in this state. And when you think about 8 of the last 11 years, they've either finished first or second per capita in producing NFL players. LSU plays Alabama this weekend. What's the #1 rivalry game in college football that has produced the most NFL players over the last 10 years? LSU, Alabama.
No doubt.
Now, Ohio State, Michigan now, they creeping up on them. But it has been #1 for the past 7 years.
Great. Last question for you. I got about a minute. Your choice for the next LSU head coach.
I would take a big swing. I'm going to get Lane Kiffin to tell me yes or no.
Okay.
And if it's not Lane Kiffin, and I know it's not, I'm going to take another big swing.
For?
Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, okay.
Okay, I've heard a lot of guys say he's untouchable there.
Nobody's untouchable.
Nobody's untouchable in this world. And, I've heard a lot of different things about how Notre Dame runs certain things, and it's highly academic school now, a lot of big donors, but they run things a certain way. I would take my swing at either Kiffin or Freeman and let them tell me no.
Right.
Okay, it's the worst thing in the world. I tell this to one of the guys at work. Okay, if you ask a young lady out for a date and she tells you no, it's the worst thing that can happen, right?
Right.
You get a no,
right,
and then you move on
to the
in
next
life
one.
to the next one
Like
that you're going to ask. And so my thing is, why wouldn't you at LSU try to go after a Marcus Freeman or a Lane
have
Kiffin?
to do that.
You have to.
You have to. There's no other way around it. You have to do that. The donors, the fans, everyone demands it. You have to.
Yeah, I never believed all this kind of monkey shine stuff about Nick Saban. Come on, Coach Saban, the ship, he's telling you every week. But every day I get a text from somebody. I heard from a well-placed source. I'm like, who's your well-placed source? You reading this off of a message board somewhere? Come on, dude.
He's done. He's done. And so are we. Thanks
you
so much.
Appreciate
Always
it,
great
brother.
to have Mike Detillier here on the program. Mike, thanks so much.
Thank you, brother.
All right, so many ways to catch our program. There's a QR code on your screen that will take you to WLAE-TV YouTube channel, also to my website, ericasher.com. Between WLAE-TV, WLAE-TV2, and Pelican Sports Television, set your DVR. You'll never miss the program. Catch me on the radio, 106.7 The Ticket. You can listen live at ericasher.com. Also, the Ticket has a website where you can listen live, as well as an app, 106.7 The Ticket app. I'm on 4 to 6 weekdays. And of course, you can also, again, check us out on this program out on the WLAE-TV YouTube channel, as well as my website, ericasher.com. Want to thank the underwriters who make this show possible. We appreciate each and every one of them. Please support our underwriters, and also the folks here at WLAE-TV who produce our program, doing a fantastic job. Ron Yeager, Jim Dotson, Al Chacon, and the best director on the planet, William Hill. For Mike Detillier, I'm Eric Asher. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week for another edition of Inside New Orleans Sports.
Our mission is local and global. We're constantly developing new therapies for rare pediatric cancer, and we share our information globally, and that's the hallmark of St. Jude.
Dear Santa, my mom says I'm a good helper, but you didn't come last year. I just really hope this year when I wake up, I'm gonna see that you came to my house too.
Donate today.
We're local and enlightening. You're watching WLAE-TV, celebrating 40 years of New Orleans public television.